What's up, guys? I'm randomfrankp, and today we're gonna be taking a look at the best webcam I've ever seen.
And this is the image quality of the Insta360 Link webcam. Yeah, this is not a DSLR. There's no capture card. It's plugged in via USB-C. This is a webcam, and this is by far the best looking webcam on the market, hands down.
Yeah, as you can tell, this is crazy. So if you're in the market for a new webcam, whether you're a streamer, any sort of content creator, teaching, business professionals, anything like that, if you need a new webcam, this is top tier right now. So we're gonna go through it all for you guys, do a deep dive into the image quality, show you how to get it set up with the software, as well as run through a bunch of the features, because there's a lot. So let's do it. So yes, meet the Insta360 Link webcam. This just released, I've been using it for a little bit, but this is by far the most feature-packed and most impressive webcam I've ever seen and used. It's got a 4K 30 FPS half-inch sensor, although you can go to 1080p and go to 60 FPS if you want. And there's built-in features like gesture control, AI tracking, just so much that we'll check out. And as you can see, this is not your traditional webcam build or design. This is very unique as it's on this 3-axis gimbal. So that half-inch sensor has a lot of literal flexibility when it comes to moving around, framing up your shots. And like I said before, with tracking, that's what's gonna help it keep you in frame. On the backside is the USB-C port, because it does come with the USB-C cable. On the bottom of the mount, you have a 1/4-inch thread. This could be for using it with a tripod or a third-party adapter if you want to mount this somewhere. And all around the top of the webcam, as you can see on the mount, this will light up green when it's powered and ready, and will flash blue and stuff when you enable different gestures and features built into the software. On the front side, you have dual noise-canceling microphones, and going forward for the whole video segment, during the actual video test, I'm going to use the mic so you could hear how it sounds. Alright, so now we're gonna do a deep dive into the video quality so you can see it all raw, unedited, how it looks, as well as a preview and a sort of run through of their software. We're not gonna go through every single feature they have built in, obviously, but more so a general rundown so you can get a better idea of how this thing works.
All right, so checking it out, this right now is a recording of the Insta360 Link webcam, and just the quality I think is personally mind-blowing. It looks so good. Really crisp as well. And for this preview, what I'm going to do is show you guys a mix of the actual webcam quality, as you can see, with also a screen recording of the Insta360 Link controller software, so you can see, some of the settings and stuff and how we navigate throughout the webcam. Also, with a mix of some B-roll, so you can see some actual physical changes and features to the webcam itself, which you'll see coming up in a little bit. But yes, this quality right now looks so good. And one thing that really impresses me is the lack of distortion. There's no lens distortion or warping at all. Take a look at where the ceiling meets the wall here in the back. You can see that is all an even plane, which is again a benefit of having a webcam on a gimbal. So good looking. Now, for the actual audio right now, this is the built-in audio from the webcam. It has the dual mics on the front here, which are noise canceling, and I think it sounds really good. So all raw, unedited, everything you're seeing and hearing is the actual webcam doing its best, doing its work. All right, now diving into the Link controller software, on the left side, as you can see, we have the preview window, with the right side being more of the settings and stuff. So first up, for the gimbal controller, this is pretty much a joystick where you can go in and just, again, use that 3-axis gimbal here and move the webcam around. And say you want to have preset positions, you can see I'm not in frame. Over here, you can easily make those. So I have my sitting main, which automatically warps right back to me sitting right in front of the webcam. Over the shoulder, got the camera here, that's a preset position. How about the opposing wall, other side of the studio? Again, right back to me sitting main. It does it all instantly, like literally just warps to you. Even have something like the TV, other side of the studio, and how about an overhead shot? Just really showing you what this webcam is capable of with utilizing the 3-axis gimbal here, like really just flexing its muscles and showing you how versatile this thing really is. So that's the gimbal control tab. Next up, you have your image setting, which lets you dial in and sort of, configure how you want the actual quality to look. And this is all stock auto. Like, I didn't change anything. auto exposure, auto white balance, and that looks perfect to me. White balance is always one of the trickiest things when it comes to webcams, and it's always the one thing I have the most complaints about because nailing that white balance is so hard on a small webcam a lot of the times. But here, this is perfect. So again, if you want to just slightly adjust the exposure, you have a little slider here. You can turn it down, turn it up, or just go in and disable auto exposure. Now you have ISO control, shutter speed, as well as an actual exposure curve here, which lets you, really fine tune it and dial it in. But we're going to reset all that because again, I think the auto exposure is what works best. It's getting kind of wonky right now because I have it back up to plus 75. So we'll turn it back down. You can hit a reset button here and it'll make it all stock again. And one of the good things about the auto exposure is it exposes the image to your face, not really the background, because obviously with a webcam, you want your face to be exposed properly. So it's good to see that they sort of prioritize your face to make sure that has the best even lighting, as opposed to making sure your background is evenly lit. No one cares about that. It's all about the face. Again, white balance, not going to touch it. It looks fine. You don't have tint control, which would be a nice thing to see. But again, doesn't really need it because the stock auto white balance looks really good. It's just, it goes all the way down from, let's see, 2000 Kelvin, really cool, all the way up to 10,000 Kelvin, really warm. Reset it, auto, boom, perfect. And you have things, again, brightness control, contrast. You want a more of a flat image, real crunchy. You got your saturation and brightness or sharpness control if you want to make it a really crisp 4K image or, blur it down a little bit. But again, reset, boom, stock quality here. Now into the more settings, which is what lets you take advantage of the AI smart tracking and gesture controls. So, as you'll see right here, on the left side, or on the right side, we have palm, which is going to enable your auto tracking. Just to show you real quick, what this does is if I put my hand next to my face, you'll see now, not only did the webcam blink blue, let me know that was enabled, but now on the bottom of the screen, we have the tracking enabled. So I can move all around, physically in my seat, and the webcam head on the gimbal will move and track me as well. Like I can try to get real out of the frame here, like underneath the laptop, and it's still keeping me in frame. I could even, stand up and stuff, and it's doing all of that. Speaking of which, while I'm standing up real quick, AI zoom. Say I want to start moving around my room with the tracking enabled. It'll keep, I have half body on right now, but it's going to zoom to me and keep my half body in frame. You can do other things like keep your head in frame if you want to be moving around and just have it really, focused on my head. If you're in like a professional setting and you're actually, moving around the room, it has that half body, whole body. So I'm going to turn that back off, come back over here and sit down for you guys. But again, just showing you what the actual tracking does. Another thing is you can see with gestures is zoom. So if I'm going to put, I'm going to move back a little bit to show you how it looks better. I'm going to put an L next to my face. Webcam blinks blue. If I move that L up and gesture upward with the L, it zooms in for me. Again, so if I'm not right at my webcam and I still want to get in frame, but I just, don't have time or the ability to actually manually control it, I can do this now all with gestures. So definitely cool to see. I'm going to turn the tracking off. And again, I'm going to go back here, sitting main, automatically warps right to my face again. You have other things like anti-flicker, your tracking speed if you want to control it from fast, normal to slow. I have it at normal because it looks great. And then the camera focus settings. So the closest focus point is, I believe it was 4 inches. You can obviously do manual focus if you want to really personally dial that in, but why do that? You got autofocus here. And again, for like us in the content creation space when it comes to like streaming, keyboard builds and stuff. Say I want to show you a keycap or a key switch. You have to cover your face for the most part because it does prioritize your face. But yeah, I'm around like 4 or 5 inches in front of the lens, and you can now see the autofocus doing really good job at keeping my fingers and the key switch in frame and in focus. I zoom back out now, and we're right here at my face. I can even get a little bit closer. And man, just look at that autofocus. Look at the crisp quality. You could see all my pores, all my blemishes. real up and close for you. Real nice. So the camera autofocus is a really, really good job. Again, goes up to 4 inches away from the actual camera sensor itself. Streamer mode, which is the thing I'll show you in a little bit, that lets you do things like change the portrait orientation, and like you can get vertical a vertical image for like streaming to like Instagram or TikTok, whatever. But that's all controlled through like OBS and stuff. So I'll show you that coming up in a little bit. HDR support. Personally, I don't think HDR is too different from the stock image. But HDR is also not supported at 4K, which is what I'm filming at. So I'll show you how it looks just in a side-by-side comparison coming up. And it's also not supported at 1080p 60. So personally, I'm not a big fan of the HDR image. I think it looks sort of too flat in some spots, especially in the face. Like, it doesn't compensate well for the highlights, I don't think. I just prefer the natural stock image, honestly, and maybe even just adjust the contrast in the settings versus having HDR enabled. Really easy to use, user-friendly software, I think, here with the Link controller. I would like to see some other changes, like I said, maybe a tint would be nice to see inside the color balance and stuff for your actual white balance. So adding that would be nice, but again, I don't think it's really even necessary. But some other things like adding the ability to maybe adjust your audio, because there is no audio at all in the actual software. There's no settings for audio, as well as a frame rate picker. So over here, when you're not filming, there's a drop down of your available resolutions, but there's no ability to actually change what frame rate you're recording at. So even though 4K is limited to 30 FPS, at 1080p you can go up to 60 FPS, but there's no way inside here to control between 24, 30, or 60. That has to be done in third-party software like Streamlabs or OBS. So a few changes that could be made, even though again it's not completely necessary because you can do that in other third-party software. But yeah, that's it for here. Now on the bottom, as you can see, we have the tracking feature. There's a whiteboard feature and stuff. But this overhead mode and this desk view mode. These are other things that I'm going to show you now across the room at the PC, because there's other things we're going to be able to take advantage of with the Link webcam that could be really cool for content creators and streamers and stuff. So we're going to check out that. We're going to do a side-by-side comparison to the Elgato FaceCam, as well as other streaming benefits like using this with NVIDIA Broadcast to really take advantage of this great quality. Okay, so now we're over at the gaming setup. As you can see, obviously a bit of a different background behind me. The next thing I want to show you, which I touched on earlier, is streaming mode, which lets you stream in the vertical orientation. On the resolution picker, there's a drop-down menu where you can select 1088 by 1920. And then just like that, you now have the physical sensor and camera flipped vertically so you can stream in the portrait orientation. And the reason why this is beneficial versus when you stream in landscape mode and then you just crop the image in is because that way you're losing like a third of your overall image. You're losing a lot of the overall picture, where here you still have the full sensor, full image, it's just flipped vertically. So this easily done at the click of a button. Next up is desk view mode, which tilts the camera on the gimbal down 45 degrees. And then as you can see, you do get this top-down desk view shot pretty much, which would be good for like, in the work environment if you're sharing like notes or your guys are drawing out a plan or something, for business streaming, anything like that. This is the desk view mode. However, there is overhead mode. And then for overhead mode, as the name implies, you get a really wide overhead shot. Again, like I was saying before with using this for streaming, content creators and like keyboard build videos, having this mode is really cool. And as you can see, it works out great. Now, the only caveat with this overhead mode is the fact you need to actually have the Link camera itself mounted vertically at like a 90-degree angle upward. So it needs to be facing out so it can have this direct overhead shot down. I'm using their very own 2-in-1 mini tripod to have this mounted, but you could use whatever you want, whatever mount, just to get it mounted on that overhead orientation so it works out the best. And again, as you can see, these built-in modes, it just works at the click of a button. The head revolves, the head moves wherever it needs to, and you have a new shot. Okay, so next up, I want to show you how you could use the Insta360 Link with NVIDIA Broadcast. And obviously, as you can see, not the best sort of duo right now because the camera is still in beta, technically, in NVIDIA Broadcast. but you can get an idea of how it looks with that background illumination. The major issue right now is that it's super, super choppy. It looks like it's going at like 15 FPS, and it's about 3 seconds delayed. Like, I'm looking at it right now versus when I'm talking, and I'd say it's on about a 3-second delay. So probably not usable for your live streams and stuff. You can see I turn off the background blur. This is kind of just how it looks right now inside of Streamlabs. You turn it on, and yeah, you get that nice, smooth, sort of blurred bokeh in the back. Again, it looks good, but right now in beta, not usable. And then lastly here, just a quick comparison for you guys so you could see how the Insta360 Link looks versus a very popular competitor out there, the Elgato FaceCam. Yeah, if this doesn't sell it for you already, I don't know what will. And the funny thing is, when the FaceCam came out last year, it came out, mid-July 2021. At the time, when I reviewed it, I gave it a very good review because the webcam market is not too advanced. There's really not a lot of good options out there. So when this came out, I gave it a good review because the quality back then, a year ago, was pretty decent. But you compare it to this now, and it's like, what the hell were you thinking? Because not only is the FaceCam limited to 1080p, but you can just see the image looks like it's from a webcam, not anything like this Insta360 Link. Another thing is, while the image on the FaceCam is wider, that really doesn't do much because I would, prefer having the overall face tracking and stuff and the flexibility with the gimbal head on the Link versus just a wider overall shot. And even like getting a bit closer, like you could see that focus really isn't doing too much for the FaceCam versus the focus on the Link. So yeah, what's even funnier about this is when the FaceCam launched last year, it was $199. Now we have the Link for $299. So $100 more. Yeah, still on the pricier side for a webcam overall, but in terms of value, $300 for a webcam with this overall image versus the $200 FaceCam is mind-blowing. Like, this is crazy.
I mean, you guys saw the comparison there. There's no real need for a recap of all the features because the image quality, I think, speaks for itself, right? Side by side, the Insta360 Link versus the Elgato FaceCam, miles different, night and day. There's only $100 difference. Again, $300 for this webcam that can look, as you guys saw, DSLR quality, I think is nuts. And I say that because I posted just a little teaser screenshot on Twitter earlier, and people were going crazy asking what it is, when they can buy it. Is it a DSLR? And no, it was literally just a screenshot from when I was editing. So the quality of this is crazy, and I think it's well worth that $300 price. Again, if you're in the market for a webcam, whether you are a streamer, if you're in like the teaching aspect for, schooling and stuff, or a business professional, this is the best webcam I've ever used. It's nuts. It really is. Now, with the minor, issues I had aside with like the tweaks and stuff with the software, the only complaint I have, and it's very, very minor, but it's a little thing that could go a long way, and I kind of think it's a missed opportunity, is I feel like on the bottom side here, so for the mount, know how we have the lip in the front so it can, properly stay on top of a monitor or your laptop? I feel like they should have had a lip on the bottom of the backside mount as well. So that way, when you are doing the overhead shots, it would catch on the lip on the backside of the monitor or your laptop, and you would then have that nice overhead shot without needing another mount or an adapter or a tripod. Again, super small complaint. You could rig this up with like 3M adhesive or something like that, but I have zero issues with the price of $300 for the overall quality of the Insta360 Link webcam. There are no physical cons that I can really think, besides the little thing I just mentioned to you guys, because the quality is so good. This is hands down the best webcam. It's crazy. So that'll wrap it up, guys. If you want to check it out, I'll have a link for you in the description down below. If you like this, if you thought it was just a crazy webcam like I'm still freaking out about, give this video a big thumbs up, show your support. Feel free to follow me on Twitter at randomfrankp. And lastly, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Hope y'all enjoyed. Have a good day.